I never imagined Christmas dinner would be the night I finally chose my wife over my mother. The slap wasn't what ended 27 years of pretending everything was fine. It was my 11-year-old daughter's question afterward. But let me start from the beginning. Christmas Eve in Dublin, Ohio, was bitterly cold. My mother's house glowed with white lights, looking like something off a Christmas card. A stranger driving past would have thought our family was perfect. I almost believed it myself. Emily sat beside me in the truck, smoothing wrinkles out of a paper gift bag decorated with tiny red ribbons. For 3 weeks, she and our daughter Lily had spent every evening making Christmas ornaments by hand. Wooden snowflakes, painted cardinals, felt stars. Money was never the point. Love was. Inside, my brother Kevin's wife Denise was arranging designer gift bags under the tree. Coach, Nordstrom, Williams-Sonoma. She spotted our simple paper bag immediately. "Homemade," she said, forcing a laugh. When Lily handed her the painted cardinal ornament, Denise set it on the coffee table instead of the tree. I guess that's what people do when they can't afford real presents. My mother, Margaret, heard every word. She just sipped her wine. This wasn't new. For years I'd watched dozens of moments like this, small enough that I always convinced myself Christmas wasn't worth ruining over them. Every time, Emily quietly let it go. Dinner started. Somewhere between football and vacation talk, Denise looked at Emily and said, "I still can't believe David married someone from a trailer park." Emily set down her fork. "Denise, please stop. Just that. No yelling." My mother stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. She crossed the room and struck Emily across the face. The whole house went silent. "She's right," Margaret said, cold as the night outside. "You'll always be trailer trash to me. Take your daughter and get out." Then I heard the worst sound of the night, my daughter's small voice. "Dad, did Grandma kick us out because Mom's poor?" I knelt down and took her hands. "No, sweetheart. Grandma forgot what kindness looks like." I stood, helped Emily into her coat, and on my way out, found Lily's cardinal ornament shattered on the floor. I picked up every piece and carried it to the truck. No goodbye, no shouting. On the drive home, Emily whispered, "I'm sorry." I told her no, I was the one who was sorry. 27 years I'd asked her to be patient. I should have been asking my family to be better. That night, alone in the garage, I found an old envelope in my father's handwriting, tucked under my toolbox. One line inside hit different than it ever had before. "One day you'll have to choose between keeping the peace and protecting your family." I read it 3 times and put it back. My phone buzzed all night. Mom, Kevin, Mom again, Denise. I turned it face down and went to bed. The next morning, 32 missed calls waited for me. For the first time in 27 years, I did nothing. It wasn't easy. Every instinct told me to grab my keys and go fix whatever had broken. Instead, I watched Lily making snow angels in the backyard, while Emily brought her hot chocolate. I realized, watching them, that my family was only 3 people. More voicemails came. "Kevin, the furnace had quit at Mom's house. I'd installed that blower motor myself, cleaned those burners every November for years, not because anyone asked, but because if I didn't, nobody would." I deleted the voicemail. Lily asked me why we weren't going to help. I told her, "Helping someone is a gift. It stops being a gift when they believe they can hurt you and still expect it." She thought about that. I think Mom always gave Grandma gifts, and Grandma broke them. Then came the flooded basement, the emergency plumber, the frozen pipes. All things I could have prevented in 5 minutes. All things I let happen. It hurt, but not for the reasons you'd think. It hurt because every problem reminded me how many years I'd fixed things quietly, while nobody else ever learned how. By January, the calls slowed. Then Kevin showed up at my door, furious. "Mom's house is falling apart, and you're acting like nothing happened." I told him I didn't make her slap my wife. He said I'd always handled this stuff, so fix it. I said I can't. He heard, "Won't." I didn't correct him. I brought him inside and pulled out a cardboard box from my basement. 12 years of folders, one for every year. Property taxes, roof repairs, furnace maintenance, insurance, prescriptions, hospital parking receipts. Kevin flipped through them in disbelief. "I thought Mom handled all this herself," he said. "So did she," I told him. He asked how much. Total. I said I'd stopped counting years ago. He pushed. Over $70,000, spread across 12 years. He put his head in his hands. Denise walked in mid-conversation, saw the folders, and scoffed. Children are supposed to help their parents. I told her there's a difference between choosing to help someone and having them believe they're entitled to it. She didn't have an answer for that. Then my phone rang. Our family attorney, Richard Lawson. My mother was questioning my decisions as trustee. I almost laughed. I hadn't exercised any special authority. I'd gone beyond what the trust required, and now she wanted to challenge me for it. The next morning I sat across from Margaret and Denise in Richard's office. He'd reviewed everything, every payment, every repair, every dollar I'd quietly spent keeping that house standing. His conclusion was simple. I'd done far more than the trust ever required. If I'd acted strictly as trustee, I'd have recommended selling the house years ago. Instead, I'd absorbed the difference myself. Denise tried one more time. That's what family does. Richard didn't blink. No. Family helps because they choose to. Entitlement is something else entirely. My mother stared at the table and said she didn't know. I believed her. That made it sadder. Richard slid the trust toward her. My father had chosen me as successor trustee because he trusted my judgment. After reviewing 12 years of records, Richard said simply, he chose wisely. Denise asked if that was it, if I just got to stop helping. Richard reminded her I'd been assaulted and watched my wife humiliated. A court would understand exactly why I stopped. Outside, Kevin caught up with me. I owe you an apology. He admitted he'd never seen everything I'd been carrying. I made sure you didn't, I told him. Life slowed down after that. The phone stopped ringing every day. Emily laughed more. Lily stopped asking if Grandma hated us. One Saturday she ran into the garage waving a letter. Her cardinal ornament, the one Denise had mocked, had won first place in her school's art competition. Lily asked Emily if Grandma would like it now. Emily knelt beside her. I hope one day she'll understand why it mattered. Spring came. One evening Kevin called to ask, on our mother's behalf, if she could see Lily. I told him I'd think about it. A few days later, a note arrived in my mother's handwriting. If you'll let me, I'd like to come to your 4th of July cookout. No excuses, just that. I decided it wasn't my decision to make alone. It belonged to the person who was hurt the least, which meant it belonged to Lily. On the 4th, Kevin arrived first, awkward and unsure. Then Margaret pulled into the driveway alone. No jewelry, no styled hair, just a plain blouse and a small box wrapped in brown paper. Emily reached for my hand. It's your call, she whispered. No, I said. It's ours. Margaret walked up and looked at Emily first. I owe you something I've never given you. My respect. Then she told us the truth she'd buried her whole life. She'd grown up in a trailer, with a father who drank away everything they had. She'd spent her life terrified of being poor again, and somewhere along the way, that fear turned into contempt for anyone who reminded her of where she came from. I judged you before I ever knew you, she told Emily. The slap is something I will regret for the rest of my life. She handed Emily the small box. Inside was Lily's cardinal ornament, repaired, the crack still faintly visible if you looked. I couldn't make it perfect again, Margaret said. But I picked up every piece after you left. I thought if I could fix the ornament, maybe someday I'd learn how to fix what I broke. Lily walked across the yard on her own. She looked at the ornament, then at her grandmother. My ornament isn't perfect anymore. Margaret nodded. Lily smiled. Neither is our family. Then she hugged her. Later, boundaries were set out loud, plainly. No insults, no comments about Emily. And if Lily ever felt unwelcome, we'd leave. Every time, no exceptions. Margaret agreed to all of it. That night, after the fireworks, Emily and I sat on the back porch. Your dad was right, she said. He told you to protect your family. I looked toward Lily's window, where her repaired ornament sat on the nightstand. I finally did. Boundaries don't always push people away. Sometimes they're the only bridge strong enough to rebuild something the right way. Love should never require you to sacrifice your family's dignity. The people who truly love you will learn to respect that, or show you exactly why the boundary was necessary in the first place.